Flashback 2.7, The Reading at Millmore Manor. Leap day had finally come, and the black van and driver appeared as planned at 10 p.m. local time. The reading was said to be at 11:10 p.m. according to the letter they had sent me. Over an hour seemed plenty of time to get to Millmore Manor on the west shores of Shannon River. Accustomed to the driver's reluctant and choppy communication, we just got in and rode straight to Millmore Manor. I suppose I should have expected it. Millmore Manor was right out of a horror movie. It was an old Victorian-style manor, complete with creepy, overgrown trees, unkempt lawns covered in leaves and debris, and windows that looked like they may not have been cleaned for an entire century. Inside, the manor was once opulent, but now appeared to have not been cleaned or meaningfully maintained for at least a decade. Dust was so thick there were visible layers of stacked dust upon dust. And of course, the floorboards and stairs creaked. The doors eerily creaked as well. It all just added to that little bit of spookiness that we just already felt everywhere in Athlone. Sarah McGilvray, the strawberry blonde Irish woman from the front desk at Midnight and Associates, greeted us at the manor. Entry door, it was a huge double door. She was holding herself an LED lantern. She spoke. "Hi, Mr. Seaborn. Mr. Lesky is inside. Please follow me. There are seats for each of you inside." She opened one side of the big doors and gestured as we entered. The pitch black manor was within. The only light source was Sarah's LED lantern. Sarah led us up a wide ascending staircase to the second floor, and then turned to the right up a second flight of stairs. We reached the third and top floor, which came to a huge white double door. Beyond those double doors was a hallway encircling the entire third floor, with rooms on the inside, nothing facing the outside. There were no windows anywhere on the third floor, not in the walls or in the rooms. No windows, no light, just blackness, save for Sarah's LED lantern. The third floor was lightless, pitch black, haunting. We traveled the encircling hallway to the furthest corner from the stairway, where there was a white door with runes carved all over it. Sarah opened the door and pointed to a portable table, not unlike an IKEA table with a screw-on leg. Surrounding the table were similarly unceremonious IKEA-like chairs on wheel coasters. It became immediately apparent by the makeshift table and chairs that this was not a permanent room. We were in Aunt Millmore's bedroom, presumably where she had died, and this was a temporary setup. We were in Millmore's master death bedroom. Mr. Lesky waited for us to all take a seat and spoke. "We will wait until precisely 11:10 p.m. to begin the reading." Well, we waited. We looked at each other awkwardly as time passed. No one seemed willing to break the silence, so the tension continued. Then there was a huge gong, echoing throughout the mansion, as if reverberating from the bowels of hell itself up throughout the house's frame and foundation. The house shook as the gong echoed and reverberated, echo everywhere. It hurt as it seemed to penetrate our very fleshy fibers and the marrow of our bones. It did not feel good at all. Mr. Lesky looked up, held his big silver ankh around his neck, and he began speaking. Again, I think in Latin. He spoke for maybe 15 seconds. It was incomprehensible. He then pulled out a rolled up parchment paper into a scroll. Yeah, it was a scroll, like an ancient times spell scroll, or something. Lesky read from the scroll. "I, Zyra Augusta Millmore, do hereby bequeath the entirety of my estate and holdings to Richard Lee Seaborn, born in Mountain View, California, United States of America, I give to Richard every and all of my worldly possessions and wealth, contingent on fulfilling stipulations in this letter. Richard must speak aloud and sign a blood vow on a scroll of bonding committing to the following. He must accept the role and responsibility of the fulcrum. He is to judge at his life's end if humanity is worthy of God's love or has fallen to wickedness and deserves justice at the end of time at the hands of the devil. Richard must reclaim each region of the world from the cult of Baal and liquidate everything, ending its influence evermore as he shuts them down. Richard must find the holy relics of the Knights Templar and use them to destroy the tapestry of Baal and his minions. Richard must preside over the Knights Templar under the guidance of Serleski of the Knights Templar. These are my final words on this plane and world. I have lived for over a century and a half. My health has fallen. My powers are waning. I am dying. Richard, your history has been purposefully shrouded. Things must be hard to believe. They will be harder to believe as you bridge the plains and see beings from hell and with fortune from heaven. But it is all real, and it is all for a purpose. Serleski will give you one of two daggers that are of destiny. They are ancient relics that in the hands of celestial beings turn its blade to fire instead of steel. Take hold and wield the dagger and see it ignite its holy fire. See the divine power burn and the blade show hot and sharper than anything that had ever been on your planet Earth. My hope, Richard, is this dagger will burn so brightly, proving to you and Serleski and everyone that you are the true Millmore descendant, that you were born of Leap Day and you possess the touch of celestial power. And with those flames in your hand, you and I and everyone will know in that moment, you, Richard, are the fulcrum from which all humankind will be judged to continue in nether few millennia or to be damned to hell for all eternity. Recite these words every morning when you wake and every night when you lay to sleep to remind yourself of your knighthood, of the quest, and your role as the fulcrum. Never let the darkness dim your light. Never compromise your ideals, values, or integrity. Should you fall, rise again. Never surrender. Evangelize righteousness and the glory of God. Destroy the tapestry of Baal. And with that, Mr. Lesky handed me an ornate silver dagger, sheathed in a silver scabbard. He said, "Pull the dagger from the scabbard." I did as he said. I held the scabbard with one hand and pulled the dagger slowly from its scabbard, with it making a very faint metallic scraping sound as its blade slowly became visible. The tip of the dagger's blade had just left the scabbard and it burst into flame as if the oxygen in the room was drawn into it and it burst into incendiary flames. Heat emanated from that dagger like standing next to a steaming hot shower. You could see the air waver and move under its uneven, intense waves radiating from its fires. The dagger felt like it was divine. It just was flaming dagger of God. It felt so intense. Katie's eyes were wide. She was frozen as she couldn't comprehend what she was seeing. It was as if her brain was fried by seeing God or Jesus herself firsthand. H.R. Bob just stared at the fire like a moth marveling at a flame. He was transfixed. Deputy Taylor turned her head on its side like a TV commercial RCA dog. Her mouth open, but words did not come out. She was awestruck. I could not fathom what was happening. Could it be a trick, some kind of accelerant that ignited on contact with air? I pushed the dagger back into the scabbard, whereupon it extinguished itself. I pulled it out. Flame on. I put it in. Flame off. Repeat. Flame on, flame off, flame on, flame off. Oh my gosh, it was a real flaming dagger. This was magic, divine, or something, but it was not of this world. That much I was sure. We were all believers. Lesky smiled. Richard, you are a Leap Day Millmore. You have celestial power coursing through you. That power is channeled into the fire by the dagger. It is no more than a conduit. None of us have the power to make it flame. Only you have the power, Richard. It is unknown if you are the fulcrum, but it seems likely. It was a vision of Zyra Augusta Millmore, and one that even Baal is said to believe in. And so, I am going to operate as if you are, in fact, the fulcrum of Millmore prophecy. To that end, of being the fulcrum, please stay true to your ideals and righteousness. Humankind depends on you. With that, Lesky stood up and said, "The dagger is yours, Richard. Please take the scroll as well. Sarah will be your contact for anything you require. I will always be available to you, but I am generally an escalation path or an advisor. Good luck, Richard."